Hello everyone. Hopefully we are live. As I said in the morning's update, yes, we are live. I can see it. As I said in the morning's update, I have to prepare for tomorrow's interview with Alex Cristoforo and Alexander Mercouris, and I need to check in the real time StreamYard. I'm streaming with this platform first time. Previously, I was using OBS Studio, and well, if I am online now, and if sound is good and video is okay, then well, I guess it's nothing difficult with this StreamYard, with this platform. Once again, thank you very much to all for participating in this conversation. I can see chat, and dear friends, if any questions, please write it in capital letters so that I can see it. So yes, hello once again, dear friends. Because it's a StreamYard and this platform did not have a screen capture, or at least I did not find it yet. I did prepare news update, and I will share with you news that is reported by media for this moment. And of course, I will communicate with you through chat. And therefore, I have to apologize. I would not be able to show you maps or screen of my notebook. Probably StreamYard also has such a option, screen capture, but unfortunately I did not find it yet. So, well, main topics of today's discussion, of course, are escalation in Middle East, Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and also Ukraine. And by the way, I will share with you some informations from Georgia. There are some quite interesting developments there. Well, I can see in Georgian nickname Საქართველოს Elilar Kiani. And question is everyone in Gaza going to die? No, of course not. But unfortunately, situation in Gaza will continue to escalate, and it's quite possible that from Gaza Strip, escalation will spread to West Bank. To West Bank, but at this point, all the news that we are receiving indicates, in my reading of big picture, that quite possibly, secret services of Israel, possibly US and the UK, maybe some other countries, are developing or implementing this Karabakh scenario on the ground, as I spoke about in the morning's update. And if this conflict will not end in next hours, maximum days, then unfortunately, I will say that it will be extremely high risk that eventually in Gaza Strip, at least in Gaza Strip, we may see very same situation as it unfolded in Nagorno-Karabakh, when after successful military operation of Azerbaijan, local Armenian residents in Nagorno-Karabakh were forced to flee region and are refugees now. Vast majority, by the way, did flee Nagorno-Karabakh. and they are now in Armenia, and will probably will move to some other states also. So I don't know. I did not see on any other channels talks about such a possibility as I just mentioned, because it seems unimaginable. I do understand that it seems unimaginable that world will do nothing in this case, because when it comes to Gaza Strip, by the way, it's more than 2 million residents there, and in West Bank, it's more than it's all about 3 million residents, and Gaza Strip is bordering Egypt, and the West Bank is bordering Jordan. But if very same will take place in West Bank, then refugees from that region may flee not just to Jordan, but probably to Syria, to Lebanon. That's why in all the neighboring countries with Israel, there are refugee camps until now, Palestinian refugee camps that for decades did become kind of huge settlements, like cities on their own. So I see questions. Just a sec. Is there West Bank populated by Palestinians or both Palestinians and Israelis? Both, by the way. At this point, both, because of new settlements that were built by Israelis. According to previous agreements, Tel Aviv did take obligation on itself that there will be no new settlements built in the West Bank, but unfortunately, this word was not kept, and there are many new settlements in West Bank. And if you take a look at the map, West Bank is basically divided between these settlements of Palestinians and Israelis. It's also very difficult situation there, but at least for now, it seems like West Bank security forces are not fully involved, at least in this confrontation. And let's hope it will stay that way, because we all see these horrific videos of bombing campaign that Israel is conducting against Gaza Strip, against Hamas and some other groups that are operating there, and of course, immense number of casualties. Probably many of you are subscribed to my Telegram and did see those videos from region. It's 13 of us right now. At least that's what YouTube is showing. But anyway, I thank all of you for participating in conversation. The question: how will Gaza people survive without food, water, and Medicare or electricity? Dear friends, probably you already know, and I did report about it on my Telegram, that Israel declared full blockade of Gaza Strip, and electricity was cut off, water supply was cut off, food supply, so complete blockade. And this question is absolutely, spot on, because how people gonna survive in such conditions? And this development itself is one more indicator, in my understanding, that maybe some top leadership of Israel has exactly the plan like Nagorno-Karabakh scenario, to force not just Hamas out of region, but also civilians. Although officially, of course, there will be declarations that rights of civilians will be protected and so on. We all know how this usually plays out. So very difficult situation. It's already humanitarian catastrophe in my understanding, and if this confrontation will continue, longer this confrontation will continue, situation will become even more and more desperate for civilians. Is the West Bank populated by Palestinians or both? I did answer to this question. So also a question. Is Azerbaijan serious about creating Israeli village in Azerbaijan for Israelis? I never heard of it. I'm just now heard this information first time. I don't know. So, dear friends, let me share with you information that I did prepare. And meanwhile, of course, I will share information at the same time. Question is, AG is asking where will they go? Egypt, by the way, mainly Egypt. If we are talking about Gaza Strip, UN already did reported that 70,000, and I did report about it in the morning, by the way. So since then, this number is significantly higher, I guess. And according to UN, United Nations, more than 70,000 people already left their homes in Gaza Strip, and this number will increase as by hours, and eventually people will be forced to flee to Egypt because that's closest, geographically speaking, that's the closest area that they can go. Maybe they will be open some humanitarian corridors by Israeli government so that Palestinians from Gaza Strip will move towards West Bank. That's possibility also, and then from West Bank in the neighboring states. But main direction, at least for now, I mean, it seems obvious that it will be Egypt, even though border is strictly controlled and without Israeli opening that border, it's gonna be even difficult to move to Egypt. But I guess if it comes to that, Israel will of course open the border. And when I'm talking about possibility of this Karabakh scenario, I mean that probably only several people are involved and informed about these plans. I'm quite sure majority of even government, highest ranking officials of Israel probably have no idea because in that case it will be impossible to pull off such a operation, let's say this way. But this is my take on the picture, by the way. As I said in the morning's programs, I may be mistaken. I don't know. But let's talk about news. Let's talk about news now. And well, I don't know. Is everything is okay with YouTube? It's constantly 13 viewers. That's what I see anyway. Oh, it's 99 now. Wow. Interesting. So let's talk about news now. And well, as I just said a few minutes ago, Defense Minister of Israel did made announcement about complete blockade of Gaza Strip, and by every other hour, situation for civilians in Gaza Strip gonna become more and more difficult. And also we have statements from Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, who made quite strong statements, and he said that Israel is preparing to change entire Middle East with its military answer to Hamas and actions of Hamas. And this statement, by the way, to me personally, one more indicator that something big, something tremendously big have been in planning and may be implemented on the ground if this confrontation will not stop immediately. Because I think it's highly likely that with continuation of this conflict, civilians from Gaza Strip will be forced to evacuate from not just from separate settlements, but from entire region. And also, by the way, we have reports that Israel did strike some border areas of Lebanon. During the day, there were some reports. That some small group of armed individuals crossed a border of Lebanon and Israel, and then Israeli forces opened fire on direction of this group, and this group was neutralized. And initially, there were some reports that it was Hezbollah units, but just about hours ago, I did share on my Telegram information that Palestinian Islamic Jihad group did claim responsibility for armed infiltration from Lebanon to Israel. So it has nothing to do with Hezbollah. And as I said quite a few times, Hezbollah is a major military force, not just in Lebanon, but in the entire region. Probably second to Israeli army, or maybe even more capable than Israeli army. I don't know. But, well, hardly it's more capable than Israeli army. After all, Israel has nuclear weapons. But comparison itself does shows quite clearly how capable Hezbollah really is. It's a real army, and my understanding is that if Karabakh type of scenario was in works and will be implemented or are planned by top leadership of Israel and Israeli secret services and US secret services, UK secret services, to implement in the Gaza Strip, then I guess this operation was somewhat communicated with other regional players to make sure that this confrontation will not become regional war. And well, it's I do understand that this type of statement, or this type of not statement, but this scenario is increasing immensely difficult to implement. But well, if I'm right, if I'm correct in my reading of big picture, then I guess not Hezbollah, not Iran, not Syria, not Jordan, not Saudi Arabia, or any other country in Middle East will get involved in this conflict. There will be strong statements. There will be maybe some cross-border fire between Hezbollah, let's say, and Israeli forces, but I think no third party will get involved in this confrontation, and it's highly likely, in my understanding, that even Fatah, organization that is ruling party, basically ruling force in West Bank, even Fatah probably will stay out of this confrontation. Let's continue. And TASS news agency is reporting that Israeli central bank is preparing to sell some $30 billion to stabilize Israel's national currency, shekel, which lost about 2% since the escalation between Israel and Palestine. And it's an interesting number here that Israeli central bank, according to TASS news agency, has only about 200 billion in foreign currency reserves, which is well, surprisingly low number in my understanding for Israel. But maybe Israel has some secret funds with some additional trillion as a safety cushion or something like that. I don't know. But officially, according to TASS news agency, Israel This central bank has only $200 billion. Well, TASS news agency also reported that, according to France Foreign Ministry, at this point is known that two French citizens were killed in Israel during this attack from Hamas. And by the way, also Blinken, head of U.S. State Department, if I'm not mistaken, did share information with public and said that 9 U.S. citizens also have been killed during this escalation. That's what is known for now, but these numbers, of course, can change any time. Let me check. Chat. So it seems like well, this StreamYard is quite easy to use. Nothing special, really. No difficulties. But it's unfortunate that there is no screen capture. That's the only issue that I can see right now. So let me check chat. Questions. Sorry if I did not see your question, dear friends. Do you think Egypt or Iran will get involved directly into this? No. Dejan is asking. No, I think no third party will get involved in this confrontation. But yet again, dear friends, I can be mistaken. I have my reading of a big picture. There are many other. Andrea is also asking. Just a second, and I will answer. And I do understand how difficult it is to come up with this reading of picture that as I do right now, because probably nobody or just a few will agree that that's a possibility. When I'm talking about this possibility, that Karabakh scenario will be implemented in Gaza Strip. But well, that's a risk that I'm willing to take, because after all, I'm gonna stay real to public, to you, and to myself. And whenever I'm sharing my opinion, it's gonna be my opinion, and that's it. And only time will tell if my reading of big picture was correct or incorrect. And well, if it's correct, then I think no other party will get involved in this confrontation. Not Egypt, not Iran. Iranian officials several times did already made statements that they have nothing to do with this escalation in between Israel and Palestine. Although, of course, Iran is openly supporting Palestinian resistance. But when it comes to this particular escalation, they are saying that they have nothing to do with it. And Jenny is asking. Jenny, thank you very much for your support, for your donation. Do you think Kiev will try to stage something spectacular, false flag attack on Crimea, etc., to get Ukraine back on their front page? That's a possibility that I was also thinking about. And dear friends, you can support my channel through donation alerts. During the live streams, I do use donation alerts, and I can see in real time your question or comment, and of course I will read it. And there is many other ways to support my work. You can see links under this video in description box. So yes, I think there is a high probability that Kyiv regime may try to gain back some attention from media, from world community, and that's quite a dangerous development, because we all know what kind of people they are. And just today, for example, we had reports from media that even Budanov, head of Ukraine's defense ministry, did acknowledge that they did try 3 times, at least 3 times, to establish control over the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, and they provocations were repelled by Russian forces. So if they are willing to risk with the security of nuclear power plant, just imagine what else they can do. So I think Russian security forces are extremely alert at this, always, but especially these days, to make sure that if there are any provocations in making on part of Kiev regime, Russian side will be ready to react on it. But risk is quite high that Kiev regime will conduct some provocations. And also, Andrea, thank you very much for your donation. Will the UN be willing to able to do anything regarding the Middle East situation? Unfortunately, UN as a institution is a failed one in my understanding, and I don't think UN will do or are able to do anything really at this point, because anything that goes against will or plans of Israel will be blocked straight away in the Security Council by permanent members. And of course, I'm talking about, first of all, the United States and the United Kingdom, and by France, most likely also. So anything that will not be in interests of top leadership of Israel will be blocked. So in this regard, what other opportunities UN has, what they can implement in reality? They can discuss, they can talk about the situation as long as they like, but what they can do on the ground? Some humanitarian operations, yes, that's a possibility, and I'm quite sure many countries will participate in humanitarian operation. But at this point, even this is not possible because entire Gaza Strip is under strict blockade of Israeli side. And let me check chat also. How many of us? 115 of us. Great. Once again, thank you very much for participating in the conversation, and thank you for your attention. Let me find some questions. Let me check some questions. So, oh no, man. Sagartulu the Kiani, that's quite extreme, isn't it? What about Auschwitz scenario for Gaza? One question from our Georgian friend. No, I don't think people in leadership of secret services of Israel are that evil. Let's hope so. Questions. How you see? So let me continue with the news. There are some quite interesting news also, and then we will have a conversation. Then we will continue conversation. Main task for this stream was to, of course, have a informal talk with members of our community. We can communicate in the real time, and of course to make sure that I'm operating with this new platform for me, StreamYard. And well, it seems okay, nothing difficult. So let's continue with some news. And TASS News Agency did report today about statements that former president of Russia and current deputy chairman of Security Council did made, Dmitry Medvedev, and um, he said that Hamas and some other groups in Israel are probably using weapons from Ukraine, weapons that was delivered to Ukraine by NATO member states. These rumors are circulating on internet for since the beginning of this escalation, really. But even with some specifics, like yesterday, for example, there were some reports that some ITGMs were found with numbers of particular Ukrainian unit that this ITGM was given to. ITGM is anti-tank guided missile, and but yet again, this is just statements without photo or video confirmations. I did not see anything that will confirm that Palestinians are using weapons from Ukraine. If I see such videos or such photo confirmations, then yes, I will change my mind. But at this point, I have no reason to believe that Palestinians are armed with Ukrainian weapons. Although I would not be surprised if that's the case, because after all, current regime in Ukraine is the most corrupt regime in Europe and one of the most corrupt regimes in the world. So they can sell just about anything, and I would not be surprised for sure if they sell some mempads, some ITGMs, and other military equipment. But Medvedev, he's deputy chairman of Security Council, and if he's saying something like this, probably Russian intelligence already has factual evidence that this is the case. But in public, on internet, there is no video or photo confirmation of it, and that's why I'm still kind of skeptical. And by the way, we also have statement from Israeli embassy in Russia. TASS News Agency did ask for comment, ambassador of Israel, and he, Ben Tzvi, that's Alexander Ben Tzvi, that's Israel's ambassador in Russia, said that Israeli side has no evidence at this point that Hamas is using weapons from Ukraine. But as I said, anything may change in next hour. It's quite possible that I will end this stream. I will continue updating on Telegram, and during the research of information, I will see factual evidence that yes, there is Ukrainian weapons. RIA Novosti is reporting that Russian embassy in Israel did reported that its embassy is unable to establish communication with 9 Russian citizens in Israel, and 4 of these citizens are missing. 4 Russian citizens are among names in Israel that are missing persons. But yet again, because of this extreme escalation, of course, it's difficult not just for embassy to communicate with the Russian citizen, but for everybody. And this is when it comes to a situation on the ground in Israel. There are many other updates, of course, and you can check my Telegram page all day long. I'm just sharing this more and more news. And well, for example, I did share on my Telegram just several minutes ago that Netanyahu's office denied information that Egypt allegedly warned Israeli authorities about Hamas plans to attack on the country. Israeli officials are firmly denying this information. They are saying that there was no such information from Egypt. And I did say that Palestinian Islamic Jihad did claim responsibility for infiltration of Israeli from Lebanon. Also, by the way, of course, concentration of forces, Israeli armed forces, are continuing on the borders of Gaza Strip, and according to latest information, some 300,000 reservists have been mobilized in Israel, quite a big number, and this is one more indicator that something big is in preparations when it comes to Gaza Strip, because why otherwise 300 people are mobilized, 300,000 people are mobilized for what reason? And also, by the way, there were some reports that Saudi Arabia ends negotiations on normalization with Israel. This was reported by Jerusalem Post, and also, by the way, we have statements from Hezbollah itself. They did deny any involvement in this border crossing between Lebanon and Israel. As I said, by the way, if my reading of big picture is correct, no third party will get involved in full-scale confrontation. There may be some local scale skirmishes, especially when we are talking about Israeli and Hezbollah, but nothing in the large scale. And let's see if any questions. We have a question from T. Talis that have you heard if some of the bombs sent to Ukraine ended up in Gaza? I did answer partially to this topic. I did hear many rumors that some weapons from Ukraine are in hands of Palestinian fighters, but yet again, I did not see any photo or video confirmation of this information. Will Russia, Sin Murray is asking, will Russia deliver knockout blow to proxy Ukraine? Yes. Short answer is yes. At this point, on the front line, we clearly see step-by-step activization of Russian forces, especially in the northern sectors of the front line. And in my understanding, this is a preparation for final preparation of Russian side to conduct large-scale offensive operations. And in my understanding, we will see these decisive actions from Russian side in the wintertime, although military experts, by the way, and they are military experts, they probably know, not probably, they definitely know better than I do, isn't it? I'm not military expert. And some military experts are saying that large-scale offensive operations from Russian side may even begun during this autumn. I'm a little skeptical of such a possibility, but yet again, I'm no military expert. I can only share my reading of situation. And so Florine Kasma is asking, but even if they had this information, the idea to launch the attack was for it to be successful, no? If yet again, if if my reading of big picture is correct, and if something like Karabakh scenario has been prepared for Gaza Strip and maybe for West Bank, then of course, if Egyptian side is correct and they did send some information to Israelis, it will change nothing. Of course. By the way, I just watched about an hour ago, maybe a little more, a video on Judge Napolitano's channel, and judges also were asking questions: how it even possible that Israeli intelligence has no idea about such an operation was in preparation? It's truly hard to believe that it's even theoretically possible, because after all, Israel has one of the best, if not the best, secret services in the world. That's at least rumors that are circulating worldwide, isn't it? And if you take in account how the scale of this operation itself, and if you take in account that hundreds of people were involved in preparations, not just one or two or five, but hundreds of people were involved in preparations, it definitely impossible to believe, to me personally, that Israeli secret services had no idea that something like that was in preparation. Probably they knew everything or almost everything, and they used this attack from they worked on plans to use this attack from Hamas to conduct bigger operation, and maybe to establish full control over the Gaza Strip, maybe over the West Bank, and to force locals to flee those territories, like it happened in Karabakh. Although, by the way, once again, when I'm talking about Karabakh, I'm always articulating that Azerbaijani government did stated many times that they will guarantee securities to Armenian residents. But because of mistrust between the sides, because of this conflict war decades long, vast majority of Armenians were not in position to trust government in Baku, Azerbaijani government in Baku, and they made decision to flee Nagorno-Karabakh. And something similar may take place in Gaza Strip, but in significantly larger scale, because from Nagorno-Karabakh, about 110,000 civilians were forced to move to Armenia. Maybe at this point, maybe a little more. I don't really have exact numbers, but I do remember that about a week ago I did report that, according to Armenian officials, more than 100,000 people entered Armenia. And well, unfortunately, if my reading of big picture is correct, then something significantly bigger scale may take place in Gaza Strip. And Wadi Big is asking, how could the Mossad miss this big offensive out of the Gaza Strip? They could not. I don't believe they can. I mean, maybe all of us were exaggerating influence or professionalism of Israeli secret services, but after all, they still are one of the best, or supposed to be one of the best in the world. And I mean, it seems absolutely impossible to me personally that they have no information about it. It's just and that's why, by the way, in my understanding, Western media is now pushing this narrative that how Israeli secret services failed, how Israeli intelligence failed. This is the biggest failure on part of Western and Israeli intelligence. This narrative have been pushed over the society, that it was failure of Israeli or Western intelligence, and they did not knew nothing. When in reality, factually speaking, of course, it's a failure on part of Western secret services and Israeli secret services. That's what is obvious on the first look. But if there are if some complex operation is taking place, then this offensive from Hamas can be just a part of bigger operation that was planned by very same Israeli and Western secret services, and Hamas fighters just playing to these secret services. That's it, really. But yet again, we have just informal talk, by the way, and we are just sharing information because anything is possible after all. Questions. Let me check here. So from Sweden, question. Thank you very much for your donations. No questions. Just wanted to say you are great. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much for your kind words. I appreciate. Thank you. And more questions. Dear friends, I will continue if I may. I will share with you several more news, and then we can continue this conversation in the chat. So next, I want to share with you some updates about situation in Ukraine. RIA Novosti did reported that Russian armed forces destroy ammunition depot of Ukrainian armed forces in Chernigov region, and according to this report, which is based on statements from Russian Defense Ministry, during the previous 24 hours, Russian armed forces conducted air and artillery strikes in 105 areas on the front line and deep inside the territory that is controlled by Kyiv regime. And among these strikes were Chernigov region, where a big munition depot was destroyed of Ukrainian armed forces. Also, RT is reporting, by the way, that Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has called on members of NATO bloc to expand and deepen the commitments to Ukraine in its ongoing conflict with Moscow, and warned that the West must dismiss any suggestion of war fatigue as the situation grinds on. Well, last several weeks, I mean, it did become too obvious, I guess, for everybody that several Western states and so-called elites of the West did began distancing themselves from Ukraine and Kyiv regime in quite a fast rate, really. And on daily basis now we are seeing articles in Western media. We are seeing some reports on Western TV stations with the criticism of Kyiv regime, slight criticism, but still. And more and more information is becoming available about this failed counteroffensive of Ukrainian armed forces. And in my understanding, as I said quite a few times before, we are clearly observing now preparation of the ground by Western so-called elites to finally cut ties with the Kyiv regime when time is right, when several NATO member states, with the green light from Washington and London, began to establish control over the western regions of this failed state under the name of Ukraine. And I guess it will happen somewhere around spring next year, after decisive Russian large-scale offensive operations this winter. It seems logical to me that somewhere around spring we will see beginning of Western occupation of Western regions of Ukraine. And to conduct such operations, of course, Western elites do need some reasoning, isn't it? They have to give public something. And now they are basically trashing little by little, step by step. They are trashing current regime in Kiev and preparing this pretext under which they will conduct this operation to establish control over the western regions of Ukraine. That's my reading of it. But of course, in this big geopolitical game, not all, even high-ranking officials of Western states are involved or are informed well enough, like Danish Prime Minister. I don't think this individual, it's a she, if I'm not mistaken, Mette Frederiksen. I don't think she's in one of the top, let's say, decision makers in Western so-called elites, in the ranks of Western so-called elites, and probably she has no idea what will happen. And well, that's why she's coming out with such statements that, let's be more active and let's give to Zelensky more weapons, more money, and so on. She has no idea what has been in preparations for Ukraine. And also, by the way, today TASS news agency did report that several NATO member states will begin deliveries of F-16s to Ukraine, according to statements from deputy of the head of NATO, someone on the name of Mircea Joane. So this individual said that it's only a matter of near future and Ukraine will receive its first bunch of F-16s. And yet again, this is a statement for a statement. That's it, really. This statement has nothing to do with reality. Ukraine, Kiev regime, Zelensky will never have under its hands any Western-made fighter jet whatsoever. No F-16s, no F-18s, no Mirage 2000s from France, no Saabs or Gripens from Sweden, no nothing. This type of statements are made just to, somewhat try to bring some relevance to the topic, to Zelensky and his regime, and that's it. I'm 100% sure we will see Western fighter jets being introduced to Ukrainian theater of operations only when NATO member states, several NATO member states, Poland, Hungary, Romania, possibly Slovakia, and some other NATO members that will participate also in this operation will help neighbors of Ukraine to establish control over the Western regions. That's the only time when we will see Western fighter jets will be introduced to this theater of operations. And of course, it's obvious that these NATO member states will try to establish no-fly zone over these Western regions, over their occupied territories. That's it. And I have one more news, by the way, from Georgia. But let me check chat if there is, or you know what, I will share with you this information and then we can continue conversation in chat. So RIA Novosti did report today about statements of official representative of Georgia's security service, Khvicha Begiashvili. This individual was a guest on Rustavi 2 TV station in Georgia, and he was asked about previous statements of Georgia's security service about preparations by several groups inside and outside of Georgia to conduct a regime change, to destabilize country and conduct regime change. And official representative of Georgia's security service did, you know what? Let me translate exactly. Служба госбезопасности. In Georgian, it's სახელმწიფო უშიშროების სამსახური, isn't it? And let me translate. I know it, but I forget it. So, State Security Service, that's it. So, official representative of Georgia State Security Service did said that risk of destabilization of country by certain groups inside and outside of Georgia is still relevant, and security service is working to neutralize all the risks. And by the way, if you remember, I did report some time ago about statements from very same state security service about preparations by certain groups to conduct regime change in Georgia. And during that statement, several names were mentioned. One name is former deputy of Ministry of Internal Affairs of Georgia, while Mikhail Saakashvili was president of Georgia. And second name is former bodyguard of Saakashvili, Mikhail Baturin. And third name is Mamuka Mamulashvili. And this name may be familiar to many of you because this individual is leading so-called Georgian Legion in Ukraine. And this Georgian Legion, is fighting on behalf of Zelensky's regime, basically since the beginning of a confrontation. So they are well armed and I guess well prepared to conduct any type of provocation, armed provocation in Georgia. And that's why I take these statements from Georgia's security service seriously, because these people have experience, they have weapons, they have money. And that's all they need. They have people and they have military personnel. That's all they need to destabilize Georgia and to conduct some regime change. And we should always keep in mind that the so-called opposition in Georgia is controlled by vast majority are controlled by Washington, U.S. Secret Services, and they are receiving orders, direct orders from embassy, U.S. embassy in Georgia. By the way, no one is calling them from Washington. You know, staff of U.S. embassy in Georgia is enough. And we should always remember that several big media outlets in Georgia are also controlled by indirectly at least, controlled by West and NGOs, by the way, non-governmental organizations. A significant number of them have ties with these Soros funds and USAID. And whenever you hear Soros and USAID, you already know what's going on. And that's why I think current government of Georgia has to be extremely cautious to make sure that these extremists, these criminal individuals would not be able to destabilize Georgia and to destroy that country, really. So, well, it's good to know that government of Georgia is keeping eye on situation and are doing everything they can, I guess, to secure citizens of Georgia and the state itself. So let's continue now. That's it, by the way. I did had prepared these several news for this live stream. Hopefully you will find this information interesting and relevant. And well, if there is any questions, let's have a informal talk, friendly chat. So yes, Zarael is asking. Welcome, Zarael. Glad you did find time to participate. Is this a failure or deliberately wanted operation? Yes, it's from outsiders who, or for people who don't think in complex terms. If they only receive information from mainstream media, they may think this is definitely a failure. Of course, obvious. But if we take a look more complex view on this topic, then it seems like it may be deliberate action or inaction in this case. I don't know. It's I did share my take on this situation. Let's hope I'm wrong. But if not, then escalation has just begun in that case, and some extreme, some devastating reality will emerge in Gaza Strip. It's already devastating, but unfortunately, it may become much worse, especially for civilians. So questions. Zitit is saying very nice stream, Levan. Thank you very much. I'm not really get used to these streams. I'm little or maybe quite nervous always, and maybe I'm not that organized. But this is, by the way, only 7th stream on our channel. So with practice, with experience, probably I will get better in streaming and in operating in real time online. And dear friends, I did see several questions, and of course I will continue. But I want to thank you. For being polite, to each other. It's a very difficult times. Emotions are high, and I was afraid. I'm gonna be honest, dear friends. I was afraid that comment sections may lose its charm, its friendliness. But at least for now, it seems like it's everything is okay. There may be some outsiders who will try to provoke members of our community, but in general, our comment section is not toxic as on some other places, and I'm extremely grateful to all of you for this. Let's keep this unity and be polite to each other, despite our differences in opinions. I mean, we all humans. We cannot be agreed on same stuff constantly. It's impossible. So questions? Any questions? So it's already hour. Stream is already hour. Yes, dear friends, if you can put Q in capital letter or question. Yes, I can see question now. Do you think the USA ruling class will ever use the billions it used to outside of the country to actually help its people in the USA? Do you think the USA's ruling class will ever use the billions it uses outside to actually help its people in the USA? Well, it's a difficult question, because one may say that all these social programs that are working in the USA, that social programs cost tens of billions, hundreds of billions, really. Although it's question is about management, how well these funds have been allocated. And for example, dear friends, I will probably never remember this short video on internet on YouTube when one of the YouTubers are saying to people in Los Angeles that Biden's administration decided to allocate some additional 40 million to the city, and what is your reaction? And they, all people that this YouTuber were asking question was happy. Oh, that's great, and so on. And then after a minute, this YouTuber is showing them right there on the point some structure, some stupid construction, which is supposed to be bus station, which is supposed to be some cover from sun. And when I see it, by the way, I mean, some 40 to 50 million was thrown away on this. Just imagine how many billions or tens of billions in scale of US have been spent on such a stupid stuff then. And that's a problem in my understanding, because US has enough money. It's the biggest economy in the world, but question is how well this money have been allocated and used. And to me personally, it seems it's obvious that management is quite poor, because there are several reports, but according to some reports, it only takes about 20 billion to resolve $20 billion, which is for US, by the way, it's kind of peanuts. And in that case, with 20 billion, they will be resolved majority of social issues, homelessness, quality of water in many cities and settlements in the US, and many other streets, bridges, by the way, that are on the brink of collapse, and so on. 20 billion. I don't know, maybe this number is too conservative, you tell me, but anyway, 100 billion is enough, isn't it? And why US government is not allocating these funds to these projects, I have no idea. They may don't care. That's it, really. They may just don't care. And when it comes to foreign spendings, we all understand that this ruling class of US, of course, don't care about citizens of these foreign countries. All they want is to keep their influence and use those areas for whatever geopolitical or geoeconomical interests they have in those regions. That's it. Because it's obvious, if they don't care about their own citizens, of course they don't care about any others, obviously. So, questions? Lilo is writing, this is how World War starts, by the way, with small incidents and small events. Let's hope world will avoid global nuclear disaster. But well, as any empire declines, usually some catastrophic events are taking place in a global scale. It happened always in history. Whenever any empire declines, it brings with it too many destruction, and we are clearly seeing now decline of dominance of Western, not empire, but Western so-called elites that are ruling over the USA and Western Europe. That's their main base, let's say, their main location. And with this decline, unfortunately, world will become significantly unstable. It's just inevitable. That's what always happened in history, and that's what will always happen in the future. But let's hope somehow humanity will avoid the nuclear disaster. Because, by the way, we all see these movies, isn't it, about post-apocalyptic worlds. Well, if nuclear global disaster will take place, reality gonna be 1,000 times worse than we see in the movies about this post-apocalyptic worlds. So let's hope nothing that like that will ever take place. And Zarael is asking, by way of deception, they shalt do war. The official motto of Mossad. Yes, yes. I mean, uh, Mossad, Mossad is. I mean, we may somewhat get mistaken. We may see too much of it, that these secret services are not that. I mean, we may think they are too great or too powerful, and they may not be in reality. So, but with modern technologies, with we should take into account history of these secret services. I mean, they truly have a power. They are very capable, and me personally, in no way I will believe that Mossad and the secret services, that Mossad is in close cooperation. First of all, U.S. and UK did not know about such operation. It's just impossible. It seems to me, at least. And they are conducting operations, by the way, covert operations, that to divert attention from society constantly, and they are very good at it. Question, Levan, from your standpoint, do you think that the greater European nations and their people will find their way towards more independence from the Anglo-American globalists within 5 years? Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, these globalist powers, and at this point, I'm not quite sure if we can call it Anglo-Saxon domination. It's just a globalist, by the way. It's just a bunch of people that don't really care about, don't really representing any particular nation. They are multinational, multiracial, multi-religious. It's a bunch of people, extremely rich, extremely powerful people that are ruling world, and they want to keep this order in the place. And because they are seeing that things are changing in the world, especially because of rise of global south. It's a game changer, isn't it? Global south is rising, and eventually these western so-called elites, these powerful clans, whatever they are beginning to notice that the influence is fading, and they are becoming extremely aggressive, and they will increase their grip on territories that they are hold onto now. And Europe is, of course, one of them. And unfortunately, I don't see even large-scale movements in European states from society that will give us an indicator that in 3 to 5 years things will change dramatically on any of the states in the Europe. They will play people, by the way. That's what they will do. They will play you with these elections. They will give you 3, 4, 5 candidates. One will be this neolib, second will be conservative, third will be green, next something else. And all of them will be in their pockets. So whoever you will choose, you will lose, because that's their game and their rules. And as long as societies are unable to impose their own game and their own rules, things won't change, unfortunately. Just to see what happened in Italy. I do remember that there was some high hopes when Milano, if I'm not mistaken, name of prime minister, isn't it? When she was running and when she became prime minister, there was high hopes, and many people were thinking that things may change in Italy. And how long it take before this new prime minister of Italy did become even worse than previous, and did become basically RuPaul of globalists. He took only like week or less than that, just a day, and she start beginning to play in this narrative of globalists, and uh, and that will happen every time until society will begin to implement its game and its rules. Because for now we are in one world and the so-called elites are in a different world, and that's it. Sorry for my English, dear friends. Sometimes there is so much to say, but my English is not that good, and I can not always express my thinking in a way that I want to. But that's with time, my English will improve. I hope. Zarahel, thank you very much. If you want world to stop destroy, wars to stop destroy, that like button. Thank you for support, dear friends. If it's not, I mean, if you can, please click that like button. How many of us? I have to end, I guess. 131 of us right now on the stream. Once again, thank you very much for your time and attention. And David, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your donation. I appreciate it. Thank you. No questions, just great work. Comment. Thank you for your kind words. And Nick Corell is asking, what do you think the solution is there to the Israel crisis? Wow, Nick, glad you find time to join our conversation. Um, I remember your comment on Duran show when you asked uh, Alexander to invite me, and also John, by the way, also veteran of our channel. I do remember he was also supporting me and are continuing to support me in every ways, and I'm extremely grateful to you for this support. And I remember this because tomorrow I will have an interview with Alexander, which is quite a step, which is quite a step for my small tiny project for me personally. So thank you very much. Thank you all, dear friends. Thank you all. I know many other members of our community were supporting me and are supporting, and I'm immensely grateful. And when it comes to question, wow, it's difficult. It's difficult. Uh, I will say confederation of Israel and Palestine, one state solution. Uh, but at this stage, is it realistic? We all know that two-state solution did not work. Israel did not even try, really, and because Israel didn't try, Palestinians also. One-state solution, confederation between the sides. Will it work? I don't know. That's a question that probably very few people know the answer to. That's how difficult relationships between the parties are in there on the ground. But two-state solutions are not working. That's obvious. So there should be one-state solution then. And when it comes to one state, it's a confederation, in my understanding, when both sides have equal rights in everything, absolutely everything. Will Tel Aviv or Israeli government agrees on such a proposition, let's say, or Palestinians? I don't know. I would love to know what is the solution, what will work to bring peace to Middle East, but I just don't know, unfortunately. And Zarael says exactly what I was thinking. That is a question that may never be answered, sadly. Exactly, it's just too complicated, too difficult, and it's heartbreaking. By the way, to see every conflict is heartbreaking, but especially conflicts that are taking place for decades and decades, and generations are growing up with hate. And how you gonna remove that hate from people? By the way, it will take another generations probably to truly bring peace to hearts of people. Very, very difficult. Z tweet is asking Levan, maybe one day a conversation of our community in Moscow. Well, that would be great. That would be great, of course. It's I mean, I'm I am just a just a commentator on a YouTube. You know, I don't think I'm in a position to even think about meeting with our community to organize such an event. I'm not someone big name, isn't it? I'm just ordinary human being, as you can see, dear friends. I am who I am. I'm real. I'm not playing, and I don't think I'm in a position to like big names are, and I don't even want to be in that position, to be honest. I mean, I want to do what I like to do. I want to communicate with society. I want to be useful to society. I like to work with news and information because that's what I used to do since I was 17, really. And these English language videos are allowing me to stay absolutely unknown in Russia. And this is comfortable position to me because I was working in news agencies. And how many news agency journalists you know? Or anybody? Usually news agency journalists are unknown. And that was very comfortable to me personally. I was able to work, to do what I like, but I was always in shadow. I was unknown to nobody. Just journalists knew that it was me. My name was LG. I was writing everything I did right, almost everything. I was signing my initials, LG, and that was for internal use in news agencies, so that administration of agencies knew who did write what, and that was it. And I guess I said sometime ago that I did witness several times when some media outlets, some TV stations or radios were calling to our agencies, and I was there when one of our journalists or staff of our agency was answering, and people from other side on the phone was asking, "Where is the news from LG?" They even didn't know what was my name. They was asking, "Where is the news from LG?" And that was comfortable to me, and for other people probably not, but to me yes. And now I'm also in comfortable position because my channel is in English. 98 little more percent of our community is from all around the world. From Russia, it's only 1.3 or 4% of members of our community. So I'm unknown in Russia, and I want it to stay this way. It does gives me freedoms, you know. It's comfortable. So that's why I think I will never be in the position to hold meetings with community and so on, because who am I, for God's sake? I'm just a commentator on the YouTube. That's it. But thank you very much for idea. If ever you will visit Moscow, uh, you know, we can meet and I can be guide around Moscow. That's possibility. Why not? And dear friends, I guess this live stream is too long. I hope you will find this conversation, this stream interesting. And well, I guess it's time to end this live stream. It's already almost 1.5 hours. So sorry, dear friends, if I miss any comment. But it's a great opportunity to have a chat, to have an informal talk in the real time. So yes, I will end. I will end this live stream now. Thank you very much once again for finding time to participate in this conversation. Have a great day, and take care. See you tomorrow.